Hey guys, Gerry from the DeFi Alpha Gaming Guild here with a little project on Solana that has got me excited. I don't normally look into the Solana ecosystem too deeply just because I'm pretty focused on Terra, and that's actually how I found out about this product. So Do Kwon, the CEO of Terraform Labs, with almost 200,000 Twitter followers, posted this on the 4th of January, and it got a lot of people interested, like, what's he talking about here? Not shilling anything, just a pretty owl, apparently, is what he said. So there was lots of people trying to work out what this was. And what it was Sol Invictus. If we have a look at their Medium post, you can see the original image. Look familiar? So this is how I found out about them, their integration with UST. So what is Sol Invictus? Basically, if you're familiar with Olympus DAO, OHM, it's pretty much, I hate to say a fork of that. It's more like a clone of that. It's not actually a fork because it's been rewritten in Rust from the ground up to run on Solana. So I listened to the Ask Me Anything update with these guys, and I was pretty impressed with what I heard. Sounds like that there's some really talented devs that have been basically recreating and rebuilding from the ground up successful Ethereum things on Solana. So this is pretty much a clone of Olympus DAO, which allows for protocol-owned liquidity. And it sounds like they're getting some runs on the board just recently, so it feels like it's a bit of a sleeper. It had this massive pump and huge pullback, and it's down in the doldrums price-wise, 88% down. So if you ever want to be getting something, you want it to be when it's already gone through something like this. Quite often you see this in crypto charts where there's a big pump, initial hype, and then it just bleeds out. So who knows where the price will end up, but I'd much rather the risk return buying something down here than jumping on board even say here. You're pretty wrecked if you bought this at $800, let alone $1,400. So protocol owned liquidity is going to be a massive deal in 2022. And these guys are positioning themselves to have the first mover advantage for the entire Solana ecosystem. So that's quite promising if they can pull that off. So listening to they're asking me anything, they mentioned that Pull Together, an Ethereum-based project, I think, who is using Olympus DAO, reached out to them because pretty much OHM wasn't really working out for them, basically because the gas fees on Ethereum mainnet are just so high. It makes claiming rewards so expensive. So obviously Solana's a high speed, high performance, low fee blockchain. So it's well positioned to basically provide that service for other protocols and make it efficient. So just having a quick look here, the current price looks like it's about 160. I'm not sure if that's accurate. Yeah, pretty close. So 160 odd. Its backed price is 123. So I believe that means the value of everything in its treasury is backing it at that 123. So it's actually pretty close to the traded value compared to, say, at 1,400 when it was probably only backed at maybe 100 at that point. You can see, it's massive speculation on the price there, but this has actually come quite close back down to its truly backed price, which means backed by everything that's in its treasury. So you got 63 million in the treasury, risk-free. That takes out the LP positions of the IN token with, I think it's USDC. So there's 32 million in other assets that aren't related to the INV price, but including the current market cap of INV or the price of INV in the treasury, it comes to 63 million. So we can jump in there and have a look at what they've got in here. So these are all their assets, about 6-7 million in USDC. There's a couple of million in marinated Sol, staked Sol. And then just recently they've onboarded these two tokens, UST, out of the Terra ecosystem, which is how this got on my radar, and then Frax, which is another stablecoin protocol. So that's in their treasury. They've also got all this protocol own liquidity of their own tokens. So these guys own this whole pool here, 30 million's worth of IN and USDC. So they're going to get fees for people trading in and out of that. That's the whole concept of Olympus DAO and Invictus. This protocol owned liquidity. They've also got another 13 million, 20 million, 20.5 million or so there in USDC, USDT as well. So that's pretty good. You don't really want too many volatile assets in your treasury. So that's good to see. This is their Twitter page. They've got 25,000 followers of their own. And this tweet thread goes into some of the value proposition. So they've just released this new product called Invictus Flare, which is basically, if you're familiar with Olympus Pro, it's essentially that, where protocols can come and create bonds and people can trade in at a discount to pick up some extra tokens. So the idea here is that you could create a bond or you buy into the bond. So the way that works is you need to provide the Tulip USDC LP token, and you can get the Tulip token at a discount to the current market price. So current price of Tulip's $14, but you're paying $13.50 when you bond. So there is some complexities to keep in mind here. So these two you can see are negative. That's because during the bond period, which is 7 days, the market price has dropped. So if you bonded at $4, 6 days ago, you've sort of basically you've given up 28% here. So the idea is you come in and you bond, and you provide the LP between Tulip and USDC. It vests over 7 days, so it's sort of locked up. It does vest linearly over that time. So, you could come in after 1 day and get, 1/7 in theory of what you would get as your rewards. But that's how it works. So the idea is that you're giving the LP token to the Tulip protocol, and that's how the Tulip protocol gets to own its liquidity. It gives you back the Tulip token at a discount to the market, and then they get the LP token. So it's all about making a lot of protocols more sustainable by owning their own liquidity, and that means that they get a portion of the trading fees, which is another revenue stream for the protocol. So Invictus Flare allows basically any protocol on Solana to come and spin up this bond system. So I'm not even sure what these other protocols are, but you'll see stuff coming over time. So the fact that they've already implemented this is super bullish, because OHM Pro isn't open to everything. You've got to apply, and I'm not quite sure how it all works, but that's quite cool. The fact that they've now got integrations and deals with UST and Frax is really cool. So one thing that I did recently is I used the wormhole bridge to get across from Terra. So I borrowed some UST out of Anchor, bridged it across via the wormhole, which was pretty straightforward and only took a minute or two. First time I've used it, worked really well. And then I came in to and bought some IN via the bond system. So I came in and got it at, saying at the moment a 5% discount. So I'm thinking, looks like the bond price might actually be more. You might be paying more than the current market price. I'm not sure. Might have that back to front. So yeah, return on investment is negative 5%. Based on the price, probably because this has pulled back a bit in the last 5 days. So there is, you've got to somewhat time it. It makes more sense in a rising market. You can see here what I've put in. I've got 3 days, 8 hours left before it fully vests, but I can start to claim this. So I might as well do that now. Just connecting my wallet. Approving the transaction. So I should be able to claim 3.5 IN. There we go. And now I can stake it. And this is where these things go crazy. So there's massive issuance of the token if you stake it. And the idea is that they have a massive percent of the token staked. And that's how it can, in theory, sustain some of this APY without tanking. It's obviously very risky, and this is all a new concept. So here we go. I'll stake my IN. Not sure why that's failing, but in any case, it's just an example of how this works. So the idea is that you come and stake your token, and then you can see the return that you get in just 5 days. You get an 8% return. So this needs to be sustainable over a full year to get that sort of return. So it's, it's probably not going to do that. But the point is you can get some high returns, especially if you're in here for a long period of time. And if your cost basis was low, you've got a really good chance of, getting a good return over time. If you can, if you're in this sort of length of time and this just ranges for, 3 or 4 months, then you'll get a nice return. If it starts to, pull up in price, then your returns really explode higher. So the other thing I wanted to mention is, as you can see, Frax, there's, I think, more of a discount. Or is that saying negative? Okay, yeah, it's actually worse off. So probably the Frax price has gone from around 180 to 160 in the last 10 days. So that's actually something to keep an eye on. If the price stabilizes somewhat in the next few days, these will go positive. And it might be worth just working out which one's giving you the best return out of the two. And you could come across to JUP.ag, the Jupiter Dex aggregator, and work out which one is giving you the best value. So if you had UST, you might go, actually, the Frax is giving me a better rate, so you might want to swap from UST to Frax first before you come into here and buy it at the bond. The other thing you can do is just, you don't have to use the bond. At the moment, it doesn't make too much sense to use the bond because these are underwater. You could just come in and buy in off the market and stake it and start getting those returns. So anyway, guys, that's a little bit of an alpha drop. I think this has potential. It's obviously high risk, high reward, but it's worth getting these things on your radar. The fact that these guys looks like some sort of traction with some bigger protocols, and they already have the Flare running, and that already has at least one major protocol, because Tulip, that's the Soul Farm guys. That's a pretty big deal. I don't know about these other two, but I'm not down in the weeds with Solana ecosystems. So anyway, keep that on your radar. Hope that was useful. Thanks for watching.